Welcome everyone to my YouTube channel. We are back with a special guest that you probably know already, Eliza.
Hi guys, I'm very excited to be back on Felipe's channel.
Today we're gonna talk about a very special topic about clothing and gender and if your sexuality has anything to do with what you wear.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be an interesting discussion, I think.
Yeah, and we had a call yesterday. This video is actually very spontaneous because we had a call and we were just talking, and it's just such a topic that pops up every time, every day, everywhere, especially on Instagram. That's
and
why,
on TikTok.
Yeah, that's why you actually noted a few questions that we like to discuss, so we don't forget anything. I think that's an interesting one for every boy. What's your first experience with women's clothing?
I think I was a kid. I was just bored and joking around, but I took the high heels of my brother and tried them on. I think that's very typical for...
How did it look like? That's what I'm interested in.
The high heels?
Yeah.
Just basic. It was in the 90s, I think.
So probably just simple black ones.
But I think I was just joking around and not really thinking about wearing them for myself.
Yeah.
I just thought, because they were talking, oh, it's so hard to walk on heels, and I wanted to try it for myself. Obviously, the shoes were too big for me.
Yeah.
But I think that was my first experience. But I don't think that it was something I really wanted to do for myself. That was just me joking around.
Okay, and what was the first women's piece that you awarely bought at the store? Or you thought like, you know what, like I don't give a shit, I'm just buying it, like not even thinking about it? Maybe thinking about it, I don't know. Maybe you thought about it.
I can't remember actually. I think it was a suit, a women's suit, because when I saw it, I used to work at Zara and we had a new delivery and I saw a suit that a girl tried on and it was very masculine and I was like, wow, that's really cool. I would love to try it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I thought my mind told me, no, it's a women's piece.
Oh, okay.
You can't wear it.
Wow.
And then I started questioning everything because at the same day I tried it on and I liked it, especially the trousers because they were so big and wide. And I was like, it looks good and you can't really tell that it's a women's piece.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I ever tried something on from the women's section and I actually bought it and I felt good about it.
Did you feel weird when you wore it outside? Was it like even a thing for you? Because the thing is, especially with suits, you cannot even see it's women's, but did you have the thought somewhere in the back of your head like, okay, this is women's, like, I don't know how to feel about this, you know?
Not really. It wasn't with a women's suit because it was very masculine. It was like an oversized suit, so you couldn't really tell and I felt good in it.
Like everything is these days, like guys, when you want to wear something with a silhouette, you know, like something more snatched, everyone's like, oh, like this is feminine. And I'm sitting here with this blazer, I feel like these days no one would question me. They would be like, you know, it's a fashion thing, like, yeah, it's normal. Yeah. So they wouldn't even bother, but with guys it's different, you know? It's
different, it's the society, it's the toxic masculinity that we experience every day.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think people, even straight people, need to open up their minds and realize that it's just a piece of clothing, it's fabric. It doesn't have anything to do with your sexuality or what you are attracted to, it's just clothing.
Yeah, and even with the fact, that's also something we spoke about yesterday, guys or men were the first ones, as much as we know, to sport heels, like back in the Middle Ages, or when was it? You're more aware of
I think it was in the 10th century that the Persians wore heels because they were riding horses and with the heel they had a better grip.
Yeah.
So that's why they started wearing heels.
It makes sense.
Yeah, so at some point it came to Europe and because wearing heels was related to having a horse and riding a horse, and it was very expensive back then, even today. So people knew if you wore heels, it means you are higher up, your status is higher up, so you are a wealthy person. And that's when it started to become something like a prestige symbol. And yeah, so at some point Europeans started to wear heels. It was King Louis XIV that started to wear heels.
Yeah.
Because he thought, it's my status, I'm higher up, I'm in the upper class. And at some point the people in the lower class started to like them and started to wear heels as well. So that's when it started to become like a competition. Who's wearing the higher heels? So the king requested higher heels to show that he's he has more power and that he's in the upper class. And yeah, that was many years ago, centuries ago. And it wasn't women that wore heels for the first time, it was actually men.
Well, we don't know exactly, but they were the first ones, you know, like they are kept on beautiful paintings, they're kept in books, so that's how we know.
The history.
And even stuff like lace, like I remember seeing guys wearing lace back then. I don't know, like I feel like the thinking of people is shifting with fashion, because when you think about, for example, movies in the 80s or 90s, like guys are wearing super tight shorts and like a super tight top, so it wasn't a thing in the 80s. I feel like the society always goes through switches of opinion, like with different times. Don't you feel like that? And also, like just talking about this, have you ever had bad experiences wearing women's clothing?
I think there are people who had worse experiences than me.
Yeah.
But it's just the looks of people, how they stare at you, they look at you like you're from another planet, especially here in Germany.
Yeah.
In London, I didn't feel like that. In London, people really appreciate diverse people with different
more
styles.
open-minded.
Yeah, way more.
Or they don't even care.
They don't even care.
Like it's winter, it's snowing, there are people with flip-flops, people don't give a shit.
They don't care, but here in Germany people stare at you. And I remember one day I had a 70s look on, flared trousers, my heels, an oversized blazer, just a vintage shirt and my jewelry. And I remember that my friend was telling me, hey, they're filming you.
Was it in Cologne?
It was in Cologne, obviously.
And that's the crazy thing, like I feel like in Cologne, like you're good in Cologne, people are more open-minded there. Obviously it doesn't compare to Berlin, but just imagine being dressed like that here in Düsseldorf.
Yeah, Düsseldorf is very conservative.
Yeah, even here in Düsseldorf, when I wear men's clothing, for example, like an oversized sweatsuit or something like that, they're already like you're not bougie enough, you know? They already kind of like eye you down.
Yeah.
So I think it really depends. So that was the worst experience. And you weren't even wearing women's clothing, were you?
I think the trousers were vintage women's.
But people didn't know it was a 70s look, so people are actually, I think they're just against fashion.
Yeah, they didn't understand it. They thought because people here are only wearing slim and skinny jeans, I was wearing something very fashion forward for their imagination. And the guy was just filming me and making fun of me. I don't take it that personal, but I can imagine that other people would have felt very intimidated and insecure, but I'm just over it, you know? Yeah. When I want to dress up, I dress up. If people are gonna stare, they're gonna stare. I don't care. But I think many people struggle with this because in Germany, I think there are places where it's worse than Germany, where people are really...
Where people get followed and like beaten up and stuff like that.
Yeah, true.
Oh God, like that's the worst case.
That's terrible. That has never happened to me, but I know that there are people who had these experiences.
But you know what? I feel like I have to out myself. I feel like a criminal right now. Back then, before I moved to London, my ex-boyfriend, also very fashion forward, some things that he did, for example, like he had these like massive plateau high heels, like back then, I didn't understand and I was like, I don't want you to wear this, like I don't want you to wear that. So I wouldn't have shamed him on the street or something like that. But to be honest, like I didn't have that understanding. So I'm not saying that the people who don't understand it are in the right position, but it's just the education, because when I moved to London, I saw more. I saw people wear all kinds of things and I kind of like, I started to love it, you know? But before, I didn't understand, you know, I was coming from Germany, a small town, obviously already fashion interested, but for me it was just like, oh no, like it's my boyfriend, like I don't want you to wear something like that, you're not masculine enough then. But these days I wouldn't think like that. For example, David Bowie, like my dream guy, like he pulled all kind of feminine looks off, and these days I wouldn't mind, but back then it was an issue for me. So I think people need to be interested in educating themselves, and it happens naturally then. So I think if this topic gets spoken about more and more on social media or in videos like this, people might understand, you know?
Yeah, true. So that's why we are doing this video, because it's actually something that is in the minds of people that doesn't make sense. It's just the society. It's just, again, this toxic masculinity, this idea that men need to be tough, strong, they shouldn't show emotions, they can't wear heels, they can't wear skirts because they are not manly enough anymore, because they are powerless. That doesn't make sense. It's just a piece of clothing. It doesn't change anything inside of you. You're still the same person.
What is the best way to inspire people to not think in boxes. What do you think is the best way to inspire people to try out new things?
Just to show them how you do it. Just
Yeah.
to share your experiences with those people.
Share your outfits on Instagram like you do. Just
Like this, yeah.
Mix and match. You know?
Many people text me, oh, I love your style, but I don't know if I can pull this off here. People are very conservative. And I start talking to those people because I was in the very same position.
Yeah.
You just need to change your mind. But obviously it's harder for other people than...
Yeah, especially when you live in a small town. I feel like if it represents a danger for you at a certain point.
Exactly, because people are beaten up because they are different, and that's something horrible. Yeah. But I think just being a role model, showing that it's normal, showing that clothing doesn't define your sexuality, it has nothing to do with your power, with your masculinity, with what gender you're attracted to. It's just a piece of clothing, and yeah, that's the way we should look at clothes. It's just pieces of fabric.
Yeah.
By the way, this is a women's wear outfit. Women's wear, unisex. But yeah.
Women's wear, men's wear, women's
wear.
Okay, actually it's the last question.
Okay.
It's the last question. You know what? We're gonna ditch the questions. Basically, I feel like it's a very important topic to you, Harry Styles.
Yeah.
Because you rage about him a lot. So, what do you think of Harry Styles being on the cover? The thing is, I feel like everyone perceives different topics differently. So for me, when I saw Harry Styles, I thought sick, amazing, and I felt like everyone was very...
On the cover of Vogue,
yeah,
you're talking about that.
Exactly. Right? So, and I thought, literally, I thought that everyone perceived it very positively. So I didn't even catch the negative side on things. What happened?
So what's the question?
There is no question, because you were talking about how you think it's unfair that Harry Styles gets recognition for that, like he's doing, like, you know, amazing things.
I don't think it's unfair, and I don't think Harry Styles is the problem. I love Harry Styles. I'm a huge fan, and I love his style. He inspires me a lot. But the problem is the society, because he receives praise and props. Oh, you're so motivated.
But is it bad? Is it bad though?
No, let me...
Okay. I'm gonna let you finish.
Okay.
Sway.
So it's a society that sees Harry Styles. He's supposed to be... we don't know if he's really straight, but people think he's a straight guy wearing women's clothes, and some say, oh, he's so courageous and so inspiring, and he pushes the boundaries. It's great that he does it, but the problem is queer people have been doing it for decades. They have been beaten up for being different, for dressing differently. Queer people never receive the praise for pushing the boundaries, doing something different, for wearing women's clothes, for wearing dresses. And that's something that the society as a general needs to recognize. Yeah, it's the queer people that have started this whole movement. And somehow, just because some famous straight people start to wear what queer people have been wearing over decades, doesn't mean that they are pushing boundaries and that they are the people who are the trendsetters.
Yeah, but don't you see the whole thing as something positive for everyone? Of course, in the past it has been as you described, but living in the now, you know? Living in the now and seeing where the whole thing is going, and how freed some people feel by the cover. Don't you think, like, in the whole sense, that it's a very positive thing?
It's positive, but you could also question why Harry Styles, because he's very popular. We have
I think because he's not afraid, don't you think?
Yeah, but there are many celebrities, gay, queer celebrities that aren't afraid and have never been afraid. They have been pushing those boundaries, and they are not on the cover of Vogue.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing. There is this, I can't remember his name. He's an actor from the TV show Pose, which is on Netflix.
Okay.
He's such a role model. He's so courageous, and he talks about those topics, and he wore a huge dress to the Met Gala, and he has been doing those things for decades. He will never be on the cover of Vogue.
Okay.
And that's what we need to question. Why is it that Harry Styles is on the cover of Vogue? Not that I dislike this idea, him being on Vogue. I was very happy to see him on the cover of Vogue. But it's those things that only certain people who seem to push the boundaries are being praised for doing that, what queer people have been doing over decades.
I see your point. I definitely, in this case, like, in sense of who to put on the Vogue cover to really represent this message, I guess. Yeah, I totally see your point, because
Yeah.
there are a lot of candidates to do that.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
And people who've been doing that for way longer than Harry Styles. And yeah, so I think queer people should receive more opportunities in the fashion world or anywhere on TV, on movies. That's about representation, because many queer people grow up seeing only straight white people on TV, and there is this representation missing for them, because they realize I will never be on the cover of Vogue, I will never be on those TV shows, I will never be a famous whatever, because there is no enough representation for those people. Same with black people.
Okay. Yeah, so that would have been a big chance to really make it right and put someone.
That would be something revolutionary for Vogue to do, and something, and a step in the right direction, because representation is still a problem in the fashion industry.
I totally feel that, Felipe. I totally feel this combo.
Yeah, so yeah, those are some thoughts that we have had over the last days.
Yeah, I feel like you can talk and talk about it, but at the end it's all about conversation.
Yeah,
that's how people grow. And I hope this brings some growth to some of you guys who feel like they want to learn, but they don't know from where and like how to understand it, because sometimes people want to understand but they just don't have the resources.
Yeah.
So I really hope that this conversation helped.
And I think we're gonna do more, or at least in this channel, we're gonna talk more about those topics. And I think we can dive in more and discuss the details of certain topics, because there's a lot of discussion to be made.
Yeah.
No,
No, it's all good. Felipe is super emotional and I get that, I feel that. I'm here for you. Like honestly, I totally feel that, and I think you would love to talk for like 10 more hours.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But that's just the beginning conversation.
Yeah.
And you guys let us know what you think about this conversation, about your personal experiences. I would love to hear about you guys, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video.
So too.
Thanks for being my guest. Thanks for having this important conversation with me, and I hope you could learn a bit at least.
Yeah, sure. Like we always talk about these type of things, and I love to listen to you, because some doors on my mind are still closed sometimes, you know, because I don't have the education. But the most important thing, guys, is always to be open.
Yes, exactly.
For new stuff, for new information.
That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let us know your personal experiences in the comment section down below. And if you have any other ideas, please feel free to comment them as well. And that's it, guys. Thanks again, Eliza, for being my guest. And we will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.